it is like the end. This finite line between grief and gratitude for me. For the losses showcases the gains. And there's an opportunity to take every moment to feel all of that at once.
How are you feeling, brother? And with the context of, because we all ask each other, how are we feeling? And that is like most words that we use, we throw so many words around. But within somatics, when you ask someone how they're feeling, and most people have a really hard time with this, but it's separating sensation from emotion. When you ask someone how they're feeling, most people think their emotions, they rationalize their emotions, where it's actually like, can you drop in and what are the sensations, the bodily sensations that you're feeling? And then also, like, can you peel that apart from the emotion? What are the sensations you're experiencing in your body?
For me, it's actually like a complete feeling of achiness. We say like my heart aches, but this is like beyond. I feel like it in my knees. My neck's really achy, stiff, rigid, not wanting to let go. These are the sensations I have, this kind of holding on to life. This achiness in my joints and my bones, I'm feeling it fully somatically. Every part of my body has that feeling.
And what would the emotion be, brother?
I feel like the emotion that would be stated that could be really understood would be grief.
Yeah.
But I also think that there is this finite line between grief and gratitude for me. For the losses showcases the gains. And there have been some losses recently. But if I could ever have mapped out how these people transitioned out of my life, it couldn't have been any more beautiful. And I have complete gratitude for in which the way it unfolded.
Yeah. Within somatics, we understand this sort of bottom-up process of our being, that we are instinctual, sensational first, emotional, we feel emotions kind of second, and then only lastly, it kind of the story comes as well. And when we can start to peel the layers apart from those, and I want to get into the very finite line between gratitude and grief, because we're not going to be able to escape this experience of duality. Within most, you let yourself feel some of the lows, usually it allows you access to some of the highs. With grief, you feel so much gratitude for the moments that you spent with somebody. What's the story that's going on inside, brother?
Yeah, the story is, I just recently lost my father as a process that I actually always knew would happen, but now it's here. It's a present feeling and moment, and not really describable with words. It is something that we need to feel, and it is something that if we're fortunate enough that we will get to actually experience. And also losing a dear friend of ours in a tragic accident very recently. So the story is really right now a celebration of every moment of my life, and a desire to carry them on, and a desire to actually put that into others, a business, a modality that can help my interactions with people. I'm usually fully present with someone, but I'm with them. Now there's an opportunity to actually be with them, maybe even just to inspire them a little bit. I think that there's an aspect of, I have been very silent for a while, integrating things, but I'm starting to feel like there's an opportunity for me to share more now, verbally.
Yeah. And I admire and I look up to you so much for taking that time to just be in the experience of just honing and digesting a lot of the skills that come naturally to you so well. Presence, and just life has seemed to give you quite a few repetitions of that lately.
Yeah.
Really test you and really show you the power of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you were with me. We got to be presently by our dear friend's side, and also presently by my father's side, as they both kind of transitioned. And that is something that you only get once. You only get that once. And you could get in your head and feel like you don't want to mess up, or, you want to say what you needed to say and all those things. But there was nothing said. We just held their hand, and we used touch, and we used presence, and we used a felt sense of communication. That was so beautiful to see that. It just goes to show that you especially have taught me that there are a multitude of ways to communicate. And I didn't take that lightly. I wanted to spend months, really, maybe even years, just sitting with that. I stay quiet a lot of times. And for that very reason. What other ways can I communicate other than verbally?
I mean, imagine if people actually thought about that a lot of the time. Like if we thought about everything that we are is essentially communicating, how we be, right? We are human beings. That is a communication in itself.
Yeah.
That is the communion of self and other, the connection to self. That is the community that we get to be present with, that we get to create. That is how we communicate and connect. And that is definitely, I've said it so many times, I feel like that is one of our deepest purposes here, is relation. To be in relation with another person, to be attuned with another person. And especially, I will never forget, and that has probably been one of the most powerful moments of my life, to be in relation with somebody within their last moments in this life. I don't think I've experienced something more powerful than that. And the situation being, this brother was in a terrible accident, a cliff diving accident that severed his cervical spine, paralyzed from the neck down, and was on life support, couldn't breathe by himself, knowing that he would be paralyzed for the rest of his life and that he wouldn't be able to breathe by himself without a respirator, knowing that he made the decision that it was his time, and to have stuck around for another day or two, to really hold space for everyone that came to him to be able to say their goodbyes. Like, I can't even imagine at that point in time, I probably would be like, okay, it's my time to go. Like, I'm ready to go. This brother stayed. He stayed for enough time for everybody that was able to make it to come say their goodbyes. How powerful. And I will never forget the moment when Fish and I went to him at his bedside, and I was on one side of him and Fish was on the other side, and we were both holding him and looking in his eyes. He was pretty unresponsive, and just like we teach people, you embodied this so well in those moments, and just leaned over, hand on his head, and just spoke to him. And I couldn't hear what you were saying, but it didn't matter exactly what you were saying. It was that felt sense that you communicated to him, and to see his eyes open up and then look at you and look at me and nod his head yes, and to feel how lucid he was and how bold he was, knowing that it was almost his time, stepping boldly into the death of this lifetime. I will never forget looking, the look that he gave you when you simply with him in full presence, in full communion. And to see tears come out of his eyes when there is tubes in his mouth. He's paralyzed from the neck down, completely incapacitated, but able to feel so deeply. I will never forget that moment. It is one of the most powerful moments of my life. And if you have the chance and the honor to be with somebody at their bedside when it is their time to transition, and to be with them as a human, and though you may feel grief, though you might not want to let them go, if you can be with them fully human to human with loving kindness, almost like it's graduation day.
There's something about that moment, because it is like the end of this existence, at least. And there's an opportunity to take every moment and everything that was shared between that person and you, and to feel all that things, to feel all of that at once, and to let those feelings and those sensations carry your words. You know, regardless of what was said, you know, it will probably always just remain him and I, but it was just what was carried with that, you know, because him and I have spent quite a few memories together. And it was like, are you able to really be in those moments, tap into those, and remember his like jovial smile and his positive like demeanor that was almost sainthood-ish? And can you see all those moments all at once, and can you speak into him? And it's an aspect of, and can you do that always? Can you always show up verbally with something behind your words, some type of meaning, some type of sensation, some type of emotion? I think we would do well to like allow that to carry our words, rather than just verbally speaking just to speak.